Okay, so you'll have to put this on. This is your mic. Just like put this to your collar or something so people can hear you. It's on, it's live. All right. And then your clicker should be working. So whenever you're ready to get started, you sure can. And then just let me know if you need anything, okay?
Just make sure this will go forward. It will.
And you can go back too.
Awesome.
Yeah, this whole.
Very good deal. Welcome folks. I'm Gene Thomas with the Waco District Health Department. I've worked with the health department about still currently 35 years. Did most of my work, in Georgetown. One of our programs is on-site sewage septic system stuff. I'll go with some stuff y'all might need to know today. It's all statewide regulation. So no matter what county you go to in the state, all the regulations are the same. Most of the time, all the paperwork's the same. The only thing may be a little different sometimes is like Louisville and Lexington are two different class cities. They still go by the same state regulations, but their form may be a little bit different. I'll give you a little bit of history about the program. Prior to 1985, the septic system stuff was under the plumbing division. 1985, local health departments took over septic regulations and so forth. And then prior to 1992, if you had 10 or more acres, you didn't have to go to the health department for any kind of septic stuff. So depending on how old the property is, there could be 2 or 3 different things that could go on there. So first thing I will tell you, so pretty much any new lot that's in the county that's not served by municipal sewer, you will have to apply for a site evaluation. What a lot of people used to call perk test. We don't put water in the hose and let it set and then go back in time. We actually do a soil analysis, basically right there on site, so we can write it up pretty quick. I will tell you by law, we have up to 15 business days to do it from the time of application. So I know sometimes on your contract, somebody say, well, we need to get this done in 10 days or whatever. I would just highly suggest get that application in as soon as you can. Some people will do it pretty quick, depending on what county you're in. Some people may take a little bit longer. We've got soon to be 5 inspectors in our 3 counties, which is Scott, Harrison, and Nicholas County. But every county's got a certified inspector. They've got to go through about 1.5 years training in order to get certified in that program. I will say a lot about septic tanks. Basically, they're designed based on the soil type and the number of bedrooms in the house. And we must have enough room on the lot to be able to put in a primary system and a repair area. So if the first system fails, we've got room to do that. It depends on the soil. I'll give you a good example. Back in 99, Scott County decided to do a cluster development where you could take, say, 100 acres. We'll let you do 20 small lots and leave the rest of the land preserved. Well, the first subdivision we did was an acre, and I said that's not going to work in a lot of cases. Topography, soil, there's rock, a lot of things come into play. So we made it 1.75 to 2 acres. And I always say it, laughing about it, because usually you've got some easements sometimes involved, but the houses keep getting bigger. Mama wanted a swimming pool, daddy wanted a garage. By the time we put driveways and water lines and everything else in, we were not left with much space on an acre. So we went from 1.75 to 2 acres. Every county that has planning and zoning may be a little different. Our golden rule is, can we get that primary system and repair area on the lot? And if you come out and say, Gene, I've got an acre, and I said, well, I don't think we can get that on there, then you still have the right to hire a certified installer and lay out both systems on that lot. I'm mainly talking about leach fields on that lot. And as long as we can put that on there, the acreage really doesn't apply as long as it meets the planning and zoning requirements and so forth. And we have a couple of systems that we've done in Scott County that are called cluster housing systems, where we put, I've got one that's got 25 homes on one system. We've got a larger one out in western, Scott County that's got 400 homes on the system. A lot of big lagoons, yeah, Victoria Estates. It's a pretty good size subdivision. So that can be done too, but there's gotta be some other parameters in our escrow accounts. People have to pay into it, just like they're paying sewer fee for maintenance, stuff like that. So, but we base the houses based on the number of bedrooms and the type of soil. The number of bedrooms determines the size of the tank. Well, so talking about the primary treatment is a septic tank. Those can be concrete, some can be steel, some can be plastic, depending on where you get them from. But as long as they have turned in their certification to our state, got approved, you can buy that tank. And most of them, will be approved. There could be difference in some prices. Could be different. Somebody said, well, I might want to put a plastic tank in. Well, we've done that before where we couldn't get a big truck with a concrete tank. So they still got to meet the same standards. We use, in our district, we use a septic tank filter. No different than a furnace filter in a sense, but it sits in the tank. Anything larger than a 16th of an inch cannot get out of that tank. So if we want to keep our problems, we want to keep them in the tank, not sending them out to the distribution box at leach field, to then stop up. And I usually tell everybody you can clean them out once a year, put a water hose out there, pull it up out of the tank, rinse it out, stick it right back in there. So most tanks that we've got the filters in, you can have a manhole riser on each end so you can get access to that filter. Plus, it's a great idea to have manhole risers on each end. So if you want to pump your tank, we don't have to go to the garage, get the shovel out, try to figure out where the tank's at. And everything. It's just a matter of taking some screws off the lid, pulling the top off the tank, and then having a certified pumper pump it. So as you can see in this picture, this is a concrete tank with two manhole risers on it. Here's a plastic tank. We generally recommend you pump your tank every 4 or 5 years. I usually, in the old days, I used to say, well, every time you get a new driver's license, pump your septic tank out. Because what'll happen, you'll have solids and sludge that build up on there, and the closer it gets to the outlet of the septic tank, then it's gonna be sending those solids out in the leach field, and then you don't want that to happen and stop up your leach field. You can see in the bottom right-hand picture is a picture of a filter. Basically, it just sits down inside basically a plastic cylinder, and then water goes up through it, or fluid goes up through it, and then out the pipe to your distribution box. There's a few counties, not many, that have a Board of Health policy that you got to pump your tank every 3 years. That could, that may sound great and it'd be okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But really, it depends on how many people are living in the house, how much waste load you have. So if you've got somebody, and I see this a lot, maybe an older couple that builds a 5-bedroom house, and they're the only two that stay there most of the time, naturally, they can probably go a little bit longer not pumping tanks because they don't have that big a waste load. I will say this, one reason why we put filters in the tanks is to keep, there's a lot of people just throw anything down the toilet and goes in the tank. We can stop up, I see baby wipes all the time. I pretty much tell everybody if it doesn't come out of your body, it shouldn't go in the tank. We were talking about a leach field. Now, what you're looking at here is a equal flow distribution box. So basically it's got 8 holes in the box. And so your one pipe going into the box that's coming from your septic tank, you will see a little baffle in your distribution box. That's just to slow the water down. Then all these pipes that are going out to your leach field, they've got a little insert in there with a hole about the size of a quarter. We call those speed levels. And what we'll do, the installer will get your box pretty level, and then we can fine tune it. We put water in there. We can turn those little dials on each line to where every line gets the same amount of water at the same time. So pretty neat, pretty neat deal. We don't see many hillside boxes. Used to, they would put leach field on steeper slopes. One whole line would have to fill up till it flooded, and then it would move over to the next line. This way it spreads it out over a bigger area. And basically your soil's absorbing part of it, and you're getting part of it leaving through evaporation. We talk a little bit different about different kinds of leach fields. Gravel is one type of leach field that you put in. Leaching chambers is another type of system you can put in. They even have a system called low pressure that you can put in. Most of the time around here, 90-some% of the time, you're generally going to be using gravel or leaching chambers. I think there's pros and cons to both. The leaching chambers, they will allow you, a lot of them, they're made in Winchester. They will allow you to, for a 3-bedroom home and really good soil, you only have to put in about 245 feet. Another advantage to them is if I go out on a lot, somebody says, well, I've got to do a fill and wait. Your soil's just terrible. But you can haul in good soil up to about 42 inches. At worst case scenario, let it settle for a year and then install a leach field in that soil. The good thing about the chambers, you can do a fill and wait. Or if I go out and I say, well, I've only got 18 inches of good soil, that's all I've got. We can actually put these in shallow depth installation, or we can put them on top of the ground and then fill soil over top of them. So that's a big advantage to them versus gravel. I pretty much got to have at least 12 inches of good soil before I can even install a gravel leach field in there. So there are a lot of advantages. Plus the gravel, you've got to put in a little bit more field line than you do with chambers. But any of these chambers or gravel, you can do a 2 feet wide line, 3 feet wide line, 4 feet, 6 feet, 9 feet, 12 feet. Once they're over 3 foot, they're called a bed. So naturally, if you've got a pretty flat lot, you know, you can put in a 212 by 65 beds, and that'll do a three-bedroom home. So a lot of different configurations. We really should give the homeowner 3 options. And we really should make a very specific drawing on where we do the soil test at. So if I hand that to one of my coworkers and I'm on vacation one week and he goes out and goes, okay, well, I can see right here, there's a tree on the lot. Here's the proposed holes that Gene dug, and I know exactly where the proposed septic system area is. We can do follow-ups. We generally like to come out, meet the owner on the lot and see where they're going to build at, and then try to pick out the best spot for that leach field. Once we pick that spot out, nothing else can happen to that area. It can't be compacted. Soil can't be dug up, removed, anything like that. So on these smaller lots, as we were talking about, it's very important that I tell people to rope that area off and don't let anybody on it. Because a lot of times you'll get construction people coming in with big equipment, they run over it, it's muddy, and now they're compacting that soil down. And then that won't be approved for the septic system site. So if you get everything in line up front before you start building, then generally we know where the driveway is going, where the garage is going.
Do you need an additional site? These site bills.
There is on the site evaluation application itself, we generally have 2 columns on there. One for the proposed site and one for an alternate site. But we have to keep in mind, as I told you earlier, that we've got to have a primary area and a repair area for the lot itself. So if I come out and say, okay, yeah, these two sites look great, but I messed one of them up. Do I have enough room for that repair area? So just kind of keep those in mind. This is a picture, and this is it's not really a leach field, it's called a lagoon. So I'll give you an example here. We find a lot of clay soil down in the Sadieville area. It's not good enough for a leach field. It wouldn't hurt per se. So there is an alternative, and you can do a evapotranspiration lagoon. Generally it's about 1,600 square feet for a 3-bedroom home. They work very well. We generally want them, most people want them hid. Naturally, you're not going to put one of these on a 2-acre lot. You know, it's not, you're going to be real close to the house. These are really meant more for larger tracts, you know, 5 acres, 10 acres, something like that. I was mentioned to you, Victoria Estates, it was a 1,000-acre farm at the time. They've got 400 some houses on it, and we've got 9 1-acre lagoons on it. And they're all hidden, you can't see them, and everything. One reason why we regulate these lagoons too, they're required to have an overflow on. So we put a very small leach field in for an overflow. Our division is subsurface discharge. Division of water, they're surface discharge. So we can't approve anything at surface discharge, but we're mainly underground discharge. These work pretty well. They mainly work off evaporation and sunlight. Sunlight kills the bacteria. You know how hot it's been here lately. You know, most homes you aren't going to use 150 gallons a day, let's say. You're probably going to get more evaporation on that lagoon than what water you're putting in there. They're only generally about 3.5 feet deep, no more than 4. And we're required to have 2 feet of berm all the way around above the overflow itself. Most cases like this, we'll have a diversion ditch above the lagoon so we don't get groundwater running into it, filling it up. Only thing we want going into it basically is the rainfall that falls out of the sky and what comes out of your house. We'll get back into little stuff that you all deal with a lot too. We call them functioning statements or existing system inspections. So let's say go to sell a house and somebody wants to know if the septic system's okay. Generally, we go to the local health department and we can apply for existing system inspection. Inspector will come out, inspect the system, write out a form, says, yep, as of today, system looks good, everything's working great. Or if there's any problems with it, for instance, let's say I had this lagoon and I went out and there was no fence around, then I'll say, no, it has to have a 6-foot non-climb fence around it or it's equivalent. So we may catch something on that particular septic system that says, hey, this is not up to code. So we got to bring it up to code to make it okay. In most instances, we generally don't have any problems. I know a lot of times people ask, well, when was the last time the tank was pumped? A lot of times or get homeowners, they'll keep a receipt where they said, hey, I had this certified company come out, I just pumped it 2 years ago or whatever. But you can get an existing system inspection from a local health department or a master plumber. I will say this, on most existing system inspections, and this is not only for them, but for any local health departments, there can be different fees at different county health departments. So what if Wedco might be one fee, you might go 3 counties over and they have a different fee. Those fees are set by the Board of Health, but they're the same type of inspections. One of the things that we really need when you apply for that site evaluation, I have a copy of the plat of the lot, any easements, anything we need to know about would be great. when you apply for that site evaluation. And even a little bit beyond that, if you can have what you want to call a proposed as-built plans that you're gonna have driveway, where your water line's going, that way, when we're in the pre-planning stages, we can say, oh, we need to move this, or we need to move that, because depending on where the good soil is, and I've had a lot of people say, well, I tell you what, I was gonna build over there, but I really don't wanna run that far from my house to the leach field, so I think I'm gonna build over here. So all in those pre-planning stages, the more information you can give us, the better we're gonna be able to help you out. Some health departments require backhoe pits. We can do soil analysis by two different ways. We either have a soil auger that we can hand dig and do the site evaluations with, or a lot of times, they'll require backhoe pits. When I was working most of the time, if it was, a subdivision that had 50 lots on it, naturally, I'm gonna get that backhoe, it's gonna be quicker for the developer, whatever. So those are basically two ways that you can do your soil analysis. Now, we'll tell you this too, we've got some counties have planning zoning that says lot size. Some counties that don't have planning zoning, we set the lot size, the local health department. So that's just something to know, reason why I know a good example, Georgetown's got planning zoning, Carlisle, Nichols County does not. So, somebody might say, well, I want to build on this half acre over here in Carlisle. I can say, you know what? Soil's not very good, probably not gonna, here's what we're gonna need, I mentioned site evaluation earlier, and I'll give you an example too. A lot of health departments, if you go to their website and look under environmental, and then you can a lot of times scroll down and see on-site sewage, then a lot of times they will have on there, apply for site evaluation online. We do on ours, that way you can get, because we have a lot of people from out of state that come in here and buy, and they'll just get online. Some health departments you can pay for it online, some you can't, but you can always call them and ask them. But this is what the site evaluation form looks like here. You'll notice at the top left, we've got the county. All the stuff she's got blanked out is basically address and number we put on it. And then you'll see on here that we've got 10 categories that we pretty much categorize the soil in on that site. Topography means slope. How much slope do we have? Landscape position, is it convex, side slope, ridge top, where it's at, foot slope? And then box 3, 4, and 5 will have on there soil texture and group, then soil structure, internal soil drainage, and soil depth. And then number 7 is restricted horizon. Could be rock, could be a frangipane. Most of this information in these boxes, most homeowners aren't going to know about. Really doesn't matter a whole lot. That's more for us. What you're going to be paying attention to is what's in writing at the bottom. And on this particular one here, it's going to say, number 1 that she's got down here, 4-bedroom. And then you're going to see 1,500 gallon tank with approved residential filter. And then the options 1, 2, and 3, as I mentioned earlier. So you're still going to have the tank regardless, but then you can choose option 1, 2, or 3 if you want to. Now, I've had some people tell me, Gene, when you write it up, I just want that rock system. Okay, that's fine. I'll note it on there, whatever. But we're supposed to give you 3 options. Is what we're supposed to give you. And
The landowner have permission to have it, come out and do that.
it would be best for the homeowner to come in and apply for the site evaluation. And I'm glad you brought that up. That way we can go out and normally meet, see, they know where they're going to build at or what they're going to do. Then we can plan.
About if it's something, a buyer purchasing land, and they do the site evaluation first. Yeah, and they have to have the permission of the landowner, you ought to know.
That would be best, naturally, we don't wanna be going out there when you don't have permission. But will be up to them to work out with the seller, you know, say, hey, I really like your lot. But I wanna really see, what kind of soil we got, what kind of system I can put in. Then they could apply for it, and everything, and then if they buy it, we'll just transfer that over into their name, you know. Cause a lot of times I know on contract, somebody said, well, I'll buy that if I have a conventional underground septic system. Well, that can be kind of complicated in a sense, because first of all, you gotta apply for the site evaluation, go out and do the soil test. Then if I come back and I say, well, I tell you what, we're gonna put chambers in at 6 inches deep. And we need another 16 or 18 inches of soil. In the end, it's gonna be an underground leach field. But I find a lot of people say underground, every now and then you'll get them where you can completely put them in, the maximum depth we can go is 24 inches. So if you have really good soil, we can put something in 22, 24 inches, we're fine. So, I guess that's what's on my end. When I saw people coming in, they had a contract, they said underground system, I'm like, well, that could be 4 or 5 different things. We mentioned the fill and weight. You know, so, but that's gotta have a lot of soil brought in, or it can be transferred. You know, if it's a larger tract of land, and it can be transferred on that tract of land to the proposed site where we're gonna do it. So I guess that's kind of the confusing part when it comes to contracts and everything. Now, where I could see it be real easy if I mentioned the lagoon earlier, and that was really the only option we had. Then somebody may say, well, I want the lot or I don't want it. But when we say underground, most people think it's fully underground. That happens some, but a lot of times we have where we do a shallow installation right on top of the ground, a foot deep. So the end product is gonna be underground, but not on the start.
Do you think that they are thinking in their mind like a mound system versus something that's predominantly underground, and that's where the confusion is?
Well, it could be that, and you know, at times when we do say you do a shallow installation, when you get done grading, there won't be much of a mound or anything there. But I just say, you know, we have to kind of clarify that in the end, because there's a lot of different, this concept, when I say I want an underground on there, well, like I said, that can be some soil added on to it, clarification. The good thing about it, once we get the site evaluation done, then I usually say, well, if the buyer has a question about the site evaluation, you call the inspector. Then they can go with and explain to them what's there, and then they can decide what to do from there.
What's the difference the feeling way is that, I mean, I know it's the mound, what she's talking about, that.
It's an option, and we do those quite often. This I went out and Gene goes down, it's 2 inches clay right off the bat. And the person is dead set on not wanting to look in, if they want an underground system. So then what we're gonna have to do, initially, we want a total settle at 3 feet is what we want. So then we'll say, okay, you have an option of doing a 50 by 100 area, fill and weight, which is a lot of soil. Now, if you can transfer that soil, if you got a bigger tract, you can transfer, that's probably not as expensive.
Yeah.
But if you hire a contractor to bring it in, and that's why I would say we need to see it before they do that. Then that is an option, and it will be an underground at the end. Generally, what we do then, let's say we bring in the soil, inspector says it's good. They call Gene on August 11th, so Gene got it done, my field pass done. I go out, look at it, check the depth of it, make sure everything's good, mark the date down, August 11th, knowing that next year, August 11th, they can install leach field in. A lot of times, what they'll do though, and I'll tell you this part about that fill away too, building a house really gonna take you 6 months, just on average. So a lot of times you can go ahead and build the house. Field pads already been checked and good. Put your septic tank in. You can use that as a holding tank until your year date is up to put in the leach field. A lot of times we have people say, well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and put the field soil down there. I'm just gonna wait about 6 months before I start building. Then by the time they get the house done, the field pad settled and they're able to put their leach field in. We have to leave the soil there about a year to make sure that when we put the lines in, they gotta be on a certain grade, that they're not camelback and up and down the system works right.
What's the difference in the soil top, and why would you need to approve the soil?
Because generally what I would like to do that, because if you come over here and say, number one, we're the one do the soil test, so we know what's good and what's bad, what's approved. So if I come out and I test soil, I say, Mr. John Doe, this soil is excellent, that you can use this for your field pad, we're good. Versus John Doe calls somebody, gets some cheap soil brought in, puts a pad down in there, a third of it's rock, part of it's clay. So I always tell people, get that soil approved where you're gonna move it from before you put it down for the field pad. That way you know it's good, the inspector says it's good, there's not gonna be any problems, 'cause it's gonna be pretty expensive to start with. What we don't need is a bunch of bad soil brought in, and especially if I'm sorry, this isn't gonna work. Don't pay a bunch of money and then you gotta do it again.
What about, I'm sorry, what I'm talking about, if you're working with a person who wants to buy a raw land, right? And you're evaluating the site for septic potential. Another thing you have to think about is like a well, right? So how far apart do these things have to be?
We have to be 50 feet from any well. And I'm glad you brought that up, because we'll talk about setbacks. And there's different things, streams have a certain setback. Ponds, lakes have a certain setback. Believe it or not, you can run a leach field line within 5 feet of property. So it's pretty close, and everything, but that's another thing we'll generally look at. And I mentioned bringing that drawing in earlier. I would want, okay, proposed house here, the well is located over here. So I know when I come out that, okay, we've got, we gotta stay at least 50 feet away. So there are different setbacks. Even tanks, they're at least 10 feet from the house, and everything. So, the more information you can give us when you apply for that site evaluation, the better off you are.
So starting your well first might be like a better step in the process, right? Like where you put your well and will it drill and how deep, and then you can say.
Yes, what we don't wanna do is for us to approve this proposed area. And then we come out and the well's 20 feet from it.
Right.
So that's a big thing to know, and everything, but we've got certain setbacks. And this, as I mentioned, on our website, when you get on there, this just lists all the programs we do, but one of them is, some good information, on-site sewage, how to size a septic system, how to get a septic system, forms online. I'll talk a little bit about the site evaluation, and we've got that taken care of. Your building, now you need a certified installer. The homeowner does to install a system, and that installer has to bring us in a drawing, house, very laid out, contours, all that stuff before he can actually get a permit. Every now and then we find some homeowners that want to do it. I don't recommend it. But they do have to get a permit. We generally do, installers affidavit with them, and we come out and do the final inspection, do a drawing, and then we'll normally store that at the health department. So if you live there 5 years, and then Donna buys your house, and Donna goes, I want to know where the septic system's at. You call the local health department, they should be able to get you a drawing done. As I mentioned, your house was built before 1985. That's not gonna happen. But this is some good information on anything from on-site, animal rabies, nuisance complaints, hotel, mosquito control, anything on there, we do all the public programs, but on-site sewage is probably one of our biggest, just because of the amount of development. I mentioned the permit, this is kind of what it looks like. New system, some of the same information that's on the site evaluation application. And in the middle little box there, we're gonna tell that installer exactly what you wanna put in. So if whatever's on here, what should be put in? So if I've got on there 245 feet of chambers, and then I come out to do the inspection, and there's 200 feet of rock in there, be like, that shouldn't have happened, because the installer knows right here what's on the permit itself. And again, permit fees may be different in different counties. So, one thing I will tell most homeowners that do that, normally if I come out, they give you a price on a system, that permit should be included in that system price. So, in other words, a homeowner doesn't really have to do anything but write the check when the job's done and fine. Yeah, and a lot of installers will say, okay, Gene, once you find my system out, can I get a copy of that final inspection? That way it shows the homeowner that, hey, it's been approved, and now I'm good to collect my money or whatever. So, and then we'll store all the copies, so we'll have a site evaluation, the drawing, probably a plat, the permit, and the final inspection, all put together and put in that file by year. This was the final inspection I was talking about. Basically the bottom half of the page there, it's septic tank. It tells us what manufacturer had it, what D-box what manufacturer produced it, what type of leach field were put in. Did we put a filter in? This one's got a polylock filter in it. And then down at the bottom, you'll see some notes where somebody went out and they just put on there, the date they went out and checked it, they did not pass that day. Installer got what needed to be fixed, went back out another day, passed the final inspection. So we can, by those dates, we can tell what's going on. And then at the very bottom down here, it will say system approved. And then you're good to go. Any system put in cannot be covered up until it has a final inspection. Unless the inspector approves. So sometimes if it's gonna come a heavy rain, you want to cover it up, we'll usually let them put 3 riser pipes in the trench. Each leach is blind. That way we can come out and it's not gonna, we don't like systems to get flooded and left open. But if it's pretty and sunny, we should be always up to the inspector to decide that form based on weather. But once we get the final approval done, we'll put all that in the file at the health department, and everything. This is a list of contacts for our 3 counties. Kayla is the new supervisor over there. You can contact her at 859-771-6767, or her email is kayla.kaiser@kentucky.gov. That is for Scott, Harrison, and Nicholas counties in the Wisco district. But every health department is gonna have a certified on-site sewage inspector. A lot of them now are newer, because some of our older people retired, but all of them have to be certified through the state before they can actually do site evaluations, write permits, do final inspections, all that type thing. They're required to do, we're required 10 CEUs per year, and everything to keep our certification. We do have regional on-site people as well through the Kentucky Department for Public Health. So, even when I was a new inspector, sometimes I was like, well, I don't know exactly if this is correct or not. I'm gonna contact my state contact and let them come down, set up and see if we're kind of both on the same page or not. As far as what can go in and so forth. So they're there to help us out, and they usually have at least 10 counties apiece or more. But they're all usually pretty close if something comes up. Y'all have any questions that you'd like to ask me as far as on-site goes? I know most of your alls is probably gonna come in one or two areas. Somebody wanting to buy a new lot, or somebody that has an existing home that's gonna sell it and they want an inspection. And I mentioned earlier, I said, as of today, it's good. I've had this happen before where somebody was relocating, they didn't stay in the house for a month. And then somebody buys it, of course, we go out and inspect it, usually if there's no sewer coming top of the ground, everything's gonna be okay. Then the new people move in, a month later it's coming top of the ground. So unless that system really has pretty much continuous water every day to it, you can pretty much tell if it's working correctly. But if you leave something for a long period of time and not use it, then it's gonna be harder to assure that the system is working correctly.
So I have a question. If I had buyers who were interested in a home that was built, in 1975, rural property with a house, I could not find most likely documentation of the septic engineering through your
Correct.
means, right? So is everything that's done pre-1985 considered grandfathered in?
As long as it's working.
Some,
Yeah, generally, but 485, when the plumbing division had it, they really didn't, in a lot of cases, do a soil test or maybe a perk test. In most cases, they put in a tank, 3 lines. And most of the time, a lot of them might be 3 feet deep. And everything, but as long as that, if that system's that long, generally most systems about 30 years, in most cases. But if there's no evidence any search in the flood, and I will tell you this, let's say you're talking about that buyer buying that and you can't find anything there. And you need something for the bank or somebody that says, hey, it's good. A lot of times we can do what we call an existing system affidavit.
okay,
So basically, it's something that the person can sign and says that I am fully responsible for repairing this system should it fail.
so that's good.
So that's good.
Yeah.
So, and then we keep those in a file as well, but that could be another option that they do, but in most cases, about 30 years is what you've got. And I've had in some cases too, the most important thing when I mention all that information bring into us is surveying. I always tell everybody, if you've got a 5-acre tract or a plot, I go out and put T-posts at each corner. That way I know exactly where the property, first of all, your surveyor comes out, marks it out, that costs money. So once I put those posts in the ground, paint top of them orange, I know exactly what my property, there's no question about it. To give an example, I'm building a storage facility in Harrison County, surveyor comes out, I've had those in the ground the last 5 or 6 years. I know exactly if somebody built a building next door, without calling the surveyor, I know exactly where it really gets sticky is when you got wood supplies. Because I've had cases where, homeowner says, yep, this is my property line right here. Well, we put the system in, it was leaking. And then to come find out, it's over on the other property. So that's the reason why I say those property lines mean everything, not it's only the setback, but it can cause issues. I've had several cases like that. So you want to stake that out. That way you know exactly where it is. And we've had people call us, can you find their tank? A lot of times they can. There are services out there that can do that as well. That have video cameras. Some of them even have digital stuff that they can flush down the toilet, take a wand out, the oil, find it, dig it up. But I mentioned those manhole risers earlier, and those are really nice to put on there and make it easy access for stuff. That way when you got to pump them out, 5 minutes you're ready to go, and you don't have to dig it up and all that type of stuff. But the more information you can give us about the lot or whatever, the better off you are. Yep. And if you ever want to just read the on-site sewage regulations, that's under 902 KER 10:085. That's everything from permit fees to licenses to everything. Every now and then, not in a lot of cases, an engineer is approved to come out and do that. But naturally, we would like to know what the local health department does, if that's gonna happen, but most of the time, we can get to you fairly quickly. But it's getting that information together and getting your application in, and then they'll put you on the list. In fact, in our county, I put a board up, I list everything on there. That way the inspectors know, plus when people come in and go, well, I'm fourth in line. So and usually when we get it done, we'll call you. There is a place on the form, on the site evaluation application form that says, I wish to be present during the site evaluation. So it's about 2/3 of the way down on that page. They can check that box. That's where we're gonna have the phone number, and we'll say, can you meet me tomorrow 11 o'clock? And we'll come out and because it's really better if they are there. That way you know where everything's going versus a map. So.
Do all the health departments have a link where you can apply?
I don't know that everybody has a link. If somebody just wanted to get on our website and print off the form, I haven't looked and see if that,
Informative.
yeah, all the forms. A couple of health departments may change it a little bit the way they look at the same information, but really they're all state forms, all state permits, all state site evaluations, and all final inspections are the same form, no matter where they're at. So some people will call in and say, can you mail me one? Some people will get online, print one out, then send the money in. Or most of the offices are generally open Monday through Friday between 8 and 9 or 9:30 a.m. And sometimes 4 to 4:30 in the afternoon. So the best time to visit a local office is really that 8 to 9 in the morning. A lot of people say, well, why are you just in the office hour? Well, you've got a million other things you got to do out in the city and the county. So really that 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning is the best time to catch it. Or you can call them and say, look, I can't make it in from 8 to 9. Are you gonna be in the office before 4:30 or something? And most health departments operate Monday through Friday. Some, I think like Woodford County, they only go to noon on Friday. You just have to get on the website, check their hours, and everything. But all the fees should be a little different, but all the forms, all the process should be the same in every county.
If we ever have questions, like, if I have a question about something, can I reach out to you or someone else?
You could. I'm on the global, we call it the state global system as well. I'm just under William E. Thomas at KY. That's the only difference between mine and Taylor's for the most part. And everything. Yeah, if you have any questions, and everything, we're having our conference next month. It's called the Kentucky Environmental Health Association Conference at the Campbell House here in Lexington. So that's where we get part of our CEUs and stuff, just like you all have to get yours and everything. But on-site sewage is one of our biggest programs, but we do several other programs as well. I mean, everything from food to hotels and mobile home parks to swimming pools and sometimes mosquito control. We do you might have to look at the website and see, look at it, get some educational materials. A lot of times we have handouts that we can give out to people and stuff. So I would just check and see what the local health department has, what their availability is and so forth. I know some counties do a lot more on-site than others. I know in Fayette County, there's generally not a lot due to the size requirements and stuff. But a lot of rural counties do a lot of on-site too.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Informative.
Thank you. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can email me or whatever. We'll, if I don't know the answer, I'll find it out. But the more information that they can have for the applying for that site evaluation, the better off the inspector's gonna be.
That's great. So I saw environmentalists also have to be involved in the inspection part of the, like, the planning, is that?
When we say environmentalist, that's basically our state type.
Okay.
So that covers everything I just talked about under that. Now, I will say this, when we first hired on, we've got a lot of just core training and food and stuff. But we've got 1 year to pass a 270 question exam. And that's for a registered sanitarian. But if we don't have that after a year, we can't work. So, and then the onsite sewage is on top of the registered sanitarian certification. So got a lot of knowledge and a lot of different things. You know, I would ask the local inspector and just remember, if you apply for that site evaluation, we've got up to 15 days to do this thing. All right. Thank you. And y'all have a wonderful afternoon. Hopefully we don't get any bad storms today, but beautiful weather otherwise.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
It's mirror to. Yeah, and that's not. Probably not.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so. Or something, I was in all this shooting competitions.
Yeah, I'll turn it off. We need.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna close anytime. Good, I'm ready to.
It is so cold in the shop. That's what I just said.
Why is it so cold?
I don't know.